Do it now! Do it! Not hit her, it's not true. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tom's Take. This is my movie channel where I talk about all things movies because that's what YouTube is good for. So, today we're doing A New Hope. We're doing our series of Star Wars reviews. This is Ali, if you've been watching. We've been doing all of them. And we've just finished doing Rogue One. So now we're doing A New Hope. And, look, it's the first Star Wars movie. Some people might say it's the best Star Wars movie. I don't think it's not my favorite of the
I mean, it's
now 8
great.
movies, but it's great. It's,
obviously.
It's great. So let's just talk about, you know, some favorite things about A New Hope. Have you got one?
Would I have one?
Would you have one favorite thing?
Like if I'm gonna go like my favorite moment
in A New Hope.
in A New Hope. You know that bit where Luke is looking out across, you know, the skyline and John Williams' music plays.
Yep,
It's
that.
probably, like, every time I watch it, I'm blown away. And I can't really articulate why. Like, it's just something about the simplicity of the image.
Now,
and it's just beautiful.
Okay, look, I don't want Rey to end up being Luke's kid. I don't think she is. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I just don't think she is. I just don't think that's where they're going. But let's say she did turn out to be Luke's kid, right? Now, if there's God damn it, if there is a scene in episode 8 where they go back to Tatooine, they go back to that hut, and Luke and Rey are both looking out on the twin suns with that music playing, God damn it, I am going to piss my pants and cry. I'm going to cry so much. I'm going to cry so hard if that happens that I will never cry again.
Yeah.
That's one of those cries to end all cries. Anyway, I just wanted to say that because.
Oh, and there was another thing. Okay, when Luke, you know, gets the shot, Death Star blows up.
Spoilers.
No matter how much I mean, same with the Twin Sun stuff. No matter how much I see it, I'm still on the edge of my seat every time. I'm just like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He did it. Yes. And
You're okay. Now let's blow this thing. Go home.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of problems with George Lucas as a writer, as a director, but the man knows how to shoot a tense action sequence.
But also he was at the top of his game in terms of even writing back then. Like the way episode 4, it's quite a simple story.
Yeah, it's the hero's journey. It's not like you've seen it in so many things and everything, but it's something about how it's done in Star Wars.
And a lot of A New Hope, I think, was happy accident. You know, a lot of the things that happened were just limitations. Oh, we can't do this, so we're going to do this. And
well, people telling him, George, no.
Yeah, he had people saying, George, no. George, no. So, no, so what I was going to say about the Luke shooting his, you know, balls into the Death Star is blowing his load into the Death Star.
It's all big metaphor.
It's a big metaphor. It's the most, as Honest Trailers put it, is the most over-the-top Freudian finale of all time. That came from behind. Anyway, so look, people take issue with the fact that there's a hole in the Death Star. Like, you know, that's so easy. No, it's not. If you listen to the what's his name?
Which one?
The dude, General.
General S.
Not Draven. Dodana.
Dodana, right? Yes.
You know, the dude who explains about the plans by Princess Leia. That guy.
Oh, he doesn't say. This fucks me off every time. Where he says Leia instead of Leia.
Leia
it's
instead
like,
of Leia.
You didn't get the memo, did you?
But look, but like Han.
I'm well willing to accept that, but Leia, like, she says her name. She's introduced as Leia every time. Like, this man should know.
But like, look, he says in that thing, you know, this is not an easy shot to do.
Yeah.
And you know, you have to use proton torpedoes or something. They said, but like, look. Yeah, they tried. Like, one of the pilot tried to get it, and then it didn't go in.
Yeah.
And Luke used the Force. Okay, you are not getting that shot, and people are saying, "Oh, it's a plot hole." No, it's not.
Use the Force.
Look, cars have an exhaust port. Okay, I'm sure X-wings and TIE fighters have exhaust ports. A space station that big would need exhaust ports. So I'm sorry, that's not a plot hole.
Okay.
It's not.
I love how we've gone from that's not an easy shot to that's not a plot hole.
But it's not an easy shot.
I know, I'm just saying.
It is, if you're like in universe, that is not an easy shot unless you're a magic space wizard.
I agree, I'm just saying. this is all about you just you know, saying
Yeah, I
it's
know.
not a plot hole again.
But I am saying I don't consider it a plot hole, and if
I
you
agree with
consider
you,
it a
it's
plot
just-
hole, I consider you to be an idiot. So, no, I'm kidding. I'm on a thing
What
here.
is
I'm on a tirade against the Star Wars fan community because I hate them. Anyway, so it's clearly I'm not part of that community. Anyway, that's my little freak out. Just forgive me there.
Yep.
Look, I do like this movie. I don't like a lot of the changes George Lucas made to this movie. The fact that, you know, he had to change the Han and Greedo shooting first thing. No, Han
And
always
it
shot
looks
first to
bad.
me.
It looks bad.
It looks horrible because Han kind of goes like that, and I'm glad we didn't do that at the same time. Would have headbutted us. And I don't like a lot of the changes he made, but I love some of the dialogue in this movie. It's some of the best Star Wars dialogue. Like that whole, you know, he can go about his business, move along. Like that whole scene. I love the whole scene. What else do you like about? And look, Jabba being put into it,
I mean, there was a scene originally written for Jabba,
and he was a human.
and he was a human, but
Yeah.
that was more because it was just a stand-in, and then they cut the scene in.
Yeah, but then he decided to animate Jabba, which looks
That's the
horrible.
problem. That's the problem.
I actually don't mind the scene if Jabba looked better.
I don't know. The scene repeats a lot of information and dialogue from
It did.
earlier, and I think that's why it was cut. That it was just unneeded.
It was unneeded. It was unnecessary. And look, you know, George Lucas goes back and changes all of these things, and we have problems with it. But at the same time, they're his movies, or at least they were. They're not now, but you know, they were. So yeah, he has every right to go back and change them. And people say Star Wars belongs to the fans, and no,
That bothers me. Fan entitlement just bothers me. Like, no, you enjoy it and everything, but it's
up
not.
until he sold it to Disney, it belonged to him.
Yeah.
So he was free to go back, and if he wanted to go back and make Han Solo a chick, he could have. We would have had to deal with it.
That would have. I'm trying to imagine that. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be pretty hot, but
It would, yeah.
but no, now you've made me think about it.
Yeah, think about it. I want you to think about it. Think about it.
It's really bright here something.
Yeah, it is. Wow, that exposure on the.
We're just
anyway.
like,
Actually, I've got a controversial topic.
Oh, yeah?
Obi-Wan not remembering R2-D2.
you know, you could always make the argument that he's playing dumb, but
That's true. Someone made that argument to me that he was playing dumb because he didn't want Luke to know the full story.
let's be real here. That's kind of a retcon. We're just fan wanking. George Lucas didn't write it so that he would.
Yeah. He didn't write the prequels. And look, to be fair, you could take it as this. It's not that Obi-Wan didn't remember R2. Obi-Wan says, and I quote, "Don't seem to ever remember owning a droid? Very interesting."
Yeah.
He said he never owned a droid.
That's true. You can get into semantics with that.
He never said, "Oh, I don't remember you. You're not R2-D2." Although he does say, I guess he does say, "Now let's see if we can figure out who you are, my little friend, and where you've come from." So I've just fucked my own point up there, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever. Look, I also, in my headcanon is a very important thing. I think, you know, we have our own justifications for these things, and I think, you know, the Tatooine desert is so harsh. And I said this in my other video, by the way. If you haven't seen my top 5 things I want to see happen in the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, go and see that video, because it's funny, and I use a lightsaber, and it's great. You know, the Tatooine sun and environment is so harsh that it ages you quicker. That's how they explain Obi-Wan and Aunt Beru and Owen aged 40 years and 20 years.
Yeah.
And maybe it messes with your head a little bit, you know?
Maybe it does.
You know, you're in a desert on your own. I'm sure you would get a little bit fucked up.
Yeah. Or maybe George Lucas completely forgot about his own timeline and just cast
I think that's probably what it is, but I'm trying to justify it in universe.
Yeah.
I don't look. Maybe Obi-Wan did end up taking up death sticks. You know, maybe he did. Maybe he got so depressed.
You know, maybe he also was like, he just doesn't age well. Maybe that's just, we can leave it at that. Maybe you'd think that he would because he looks like Ewan McGregor, but no. Give him 20 years, he looks like a prude.
It looks like Ali. Well, he was starting to go grey in Revenge of the Sith. He had a little grey kind of.
That's stress from hanging out with Anakin Skywalker.
That's stress. That is complete stress. And look. Everyone complains about Kylo Ren being a bratty little bitch. But
Have
if
not
you
seen the
watch,
prequels?
but if you watch A New Hope, if you watch that movie, Luke Skywalker is a bratty little piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, he's this adorable farm boy, you know, who dreams of having a big life.
Tashi Station to pick up some power
Yeah,
converters.
that was my next point. I was going to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. But I want to go and join the Imperial Academy, Uncle Owen. Like, sorry, it runs in the family. Right? Like, no? Anyone?
Although I don't think he would have been joining the Imperial Academy.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like, he wanted to go and join the academy. They never say.
Yeah, but just by his.
I don't think the
choices.
Rebel Alliance had enough enough money
actually,
to
that's
start an
something
academy.
That's something that's interesting to me. Like, what academy is this?
But see, here's the thing, right? He never said. He didn't know really what the Empire was capable of because they didn't know about the Death Star, right? He didn't know about it.
Yeah.
He just knew there was a battle against the Rebellion and the Empire. Because a lot of systems, understandably so, probably would have welcomed the control that the Empire brought.
And Tatooine was kind of like, its whole thing was that it wasn't really controlled by the Empire.
No, and it's so remote, and obviously it's not controlled by the Empire because we know Vader hates sand and he's not going anywhere near it. So
it's why he wasn't on Jedha, it's why he wasn't on Scarif.
It's why he wasn't on Scarif because he hates sand. So, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't want that in his life.
But look, I would argue this is probably, I wanted to say, and then I was thinking about Empire, I wanted to say this was Harrison Ford's best performance I think he's ever given. In a Star Wars movie. In
a Star Wars movie, you know, he's really good in this, obviously, but I gotta give it to Empire on that one.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, I don't even think he's acting it. I think he looks bored all throughout Return of the Jedi. So,
really? I don't know.
When I was a kid, I thought it was like, you know, when you could nurse, you know, bad acting or bored actors. But when
I think he was certainly bored in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But
but he likes Indiana Jones a hell of a lot more than like Star Wars.
He does. Look.
But, yeah, that doesn't matter. I will get to that when we get to those other movies.
What I also love about this is the relationship between Tarkin and Vader and Leia. That triangle of relationship, that dynamic there, like. Governor Tarkin, I would have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. Like, who says that? It's awesome. And then, you know, Tarkin saying, well, you know, you're going to tell us, you know, what we need to know, or I'm going to blow up your whole planet. Like, it really just, like, that one scene set up the entire stakes for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and it's done so well that you don't even really, like, it's not forced on you. You don't even consciously think about, oh, I just got a ton of plot exposition from this.
No, and you feel just from like Carrie Fisher's acting of like, oh shit, you know, what? The way she just brilliant, just what? Like that brilliant line of dialogue there is great. And yeah, I love that dynamic.
Oh yeah.
But I do like, you know, everyone complains about the Vader and Obi-Wan fight. Oh, it's just two old guys poking at each other, and it doesn't match up to the prequel fighting or Vader's, you know, skills in Rogue.
Obviously it doesn't match up to the prequel fighting.
I think at some point we have to accept that it's a 40-year-old movie.
Yeah.
And it's just not gonna...
It's just not gonna do that.
It's just not gonna cut it, right?
Yeah.
It just isn't.
Yeah.
But I do love that dialogue between Obi-Wan and Vader, that when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
It's, well, only a master of evil, Darth.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
But, like... I mean, I think that what's more important isn't the fight itself. Like, the fight, I guess just because people are already very familiar with how plots work, that you know how that fight's going to turn out. What's important is establishing that relationship and the history.
But also, you could make an argument Vader won that fight because Obi-Wan sacrificed himself. I think if Obi-Wan, let's say, Obi-Wan sacrificed himself because he wanted Luke to escape, right?
Yeah.
But I can play a what if here. Obi-Wan had kept fighting. Do you think Obi-Wan could have taken Vader out?
Obi-Wan hasn't had any practice for like 20 years, I assume.
But he's also been doing nothing but, I assume, meditating in the Force for that long.
Okay, true. I'll give you that.
He's been in contact with Yoda, I assume.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe lightsaber skills-wise, Vader takes him out, but pure Force powers, I don't know. I think The Force
but
can be a
he-
strong influence
But,
on the...
Darth Vader literally says, "Your power
It's a weak old man. That's true. That's true. Well, you've just killed that fun game that I was going to play,
Sorry,
but
I'm just saying we got to nitpick a little bit about
No, we do,
for
we
every
do.
line in Star Wars.
I got to get into this again because everyone brings this up, and Kathy Kennedy's very feministic in her approaches to Star Wars, and I'm not opposed to female characters in Star Wars. I'm just saying, don't bang on about it so much because it makes you look like you're...
Yeah.
It looks a little bit kind of, almost begging for it to... Anyway, I just think, everyone goes, oh, well, George Lucas didn't have many strong female... He introduced the strongest, most badass female character in Star Wars ever. Princess Leia.
Not just in Star Wars, like science fiction in general.
He
Like,
started
obviously, there have been strong female characters in science fiction before. There obviously have been since, but Leia is like the benchmark for me.
But she was, like, in that movie... I mean, a lot of that was Carrie Fisher, too.
I mean, Carrie Fisher just generally was a badass human being.
But that whole, like, garbage chute scene, into the garbage chute, flyboy. Like, you're not going to do it? Fine, I'm going to do it, You came in that thing, you're braver than I thought. Like, I actually think that's her best... Actually, I'm going to, with confidence now, I can say that's Carrie Fisher's best Leia performance, I think, is in A New Hope.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give that to you. Yeah.
Harrison Ford, I was thinking maybe, because the reason I said the Harrison Ford thing is because, the cantina scene with him is one of my favorite Han Solo scenes. With him, Obi-Wan, Luke, and Chewie.
Probably like one of the best Star Wars scenes.
It's one of the best written lines of dialogue,
Yeah.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Like, it's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Like,
Right, today all of your Star Wars impressions are just sounding like variations of Obi-Wan.
did I go kind of
like
British
this.
with my Harrison Ford?
A little too British.
But I also love the scene on the Falcon. The hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid. Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've never seen anything to make me believe there's some all-powerful force controlling everything. This whole video is just me doing a Harrison Ford impression, as well as doing an Obi-Wan. Yeah, actually, my Obi-Wan's pretty good. I like mine.
Your Obi-Wan's.
Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
Yes.
They cut the A and the D off in Force Awakens. Hey. And my Tarkin too. Tarkin's actually, through Rogue One and through A New Hope, and rewatching A New Hope, Tarkin's actually becoming very quickly one of my favorite characters in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because he was the Emperor's boy. Like, next to Vader, like, Tarkin was it.
I mean, one of the things that I really love about not just this movie, Star Wars in general, even the new ones do this, is that they always leave so much room for just people imagining things and like room for development in another movie, in a comic book, in a book. There's such just fullness to the world because, to an extent, parts of it are just left unexplained or unfinished because for world building purposes.
And I think
Tarkin's a perfect example.
Rogue One helped me love this scene more. Is that boardroom scene? I love that scene, and Rogue One was a big part of the reason I've come to really. It's one of my favorite scenes now of all Star Wars. Is because they're talking about the Battle of Scarif. In that boardroom scene, that line when he says, the Rebel Alliance is too well equipped. Dangerous to your Starfleet commander, not to this battle station. He's talking about, well, look, the Rebel fleet just took down the tower at Scarif.
Yeah.
They just stole the planes right underneath you. Like, and that line, I don't know the actor's name, and I really want to look it up. The dude who, I can do the whole quote. I'm going to do the whole quote.
Okay.
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, nor given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort. I love that line of dialogue. I just think it's so good. And if you watch they released the extended scenes of those, the extended cuts of those scenes. And one of the dudes says, he mentions the word Sith. He says, oh, this Sith Lord that, walks around and thinks he's, so good, or whatever he says. And it's like, George Lucas had Sith written back then.
Yeah. Now, John Williams' score. How did we miss talking about that? John Williams was that kind of like, he was already a very famous composer at that point.
He'd done Superman.
He actually, I believe Superman
was
being made.
Being made.
Superman came out in 78, but they would have been made around the same time. Superman was a long production.
Okay.
So I think And you can hear similarities in the score that make me think that he was working on them at the same time.
Yeah.
But he'd already done Jaws. So, like, Jaws is big.
Yep.
And I'm fairly sure that Close Encounters of the Third Kind had come out before as well.
Yep.
So he'd done big stuff.
But look, he made A New Hope. John Williams, like, you can't understate the importance of his music in these movies.
Yeah. Like, this was defining. Like, he made composing practically like as big of a deal as
he is the greatest film composer.
Yeah,
maybe the greatest composer, period.
That is a huge claim. Like, I'm not disagreeing. It's a big claim.
But like I mean, that iconic Star Wars theme is like the biggest theme in history.
It is. People see it in concert. People like you can see Mozart perform in concert. You can see Bach. You can see John Williams scores performed in concert. But imagine being the audience in like the first showing of Star Wars, like the premiere, and it comes. It's like, and you're just sitting there like, it's already the best movie you've ever seen because it's done this.
And also that, like, Star Wars without the music is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing, right? That throne room scene at the end, which I love that scene. That the dun 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 dun. Like that whole, I love that. It's so good. And whoa.
It attacked me. I've been threatened.
She actually has the unaltered VHS tapes of the original trilogy, and I'm fucking jealous.
I actually have 2 copies of it.
Oh,
you can't have them.
Yes, I can.
The joys of having, old parents who are sci-fi fucking nerds.
Okay, here's one more point I gotta bring up.
Okay.
If non-Star Wars fans tend to understate what this movie did for where we are now. I mean, like, I'm sorry, you don't have, without George Lucas pushing for this stuff and saying, no, we can do it, nothing is impossible, like that attitude, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, visual effects are not where they are right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Without ILM, we wouldn't have pretty much any of the amazing effects we have today.
He had his hand in Pixar.
Yeah.
He had his hand in creating all this stuff. You don't have visual effects.
And actually,
the blockbuster movie I don't think it exists now without, this started the whole pop culture kind of thing.
Yeah. And like, it really brought, okay, obviously science fiction was mainstream at that time because, we've been to the moon. Yeah. People love space. But Star Wars,
it changed,
it changed
the
how
movie industry.
Thought about it.
And you speak to a lot of filmmakers now, and you ask them what inspired you to start.
James Cameron.
Some of the greatest, and I'm not a big fan of James Cameron just as a person. But a lot of the best filmmakers now, you ask them what was your inspiration. Star Wars, the original Star Wars. When I saw the original Star Wars, it's the reason I'm sitting here talking about it right now. Like, it's just Star Wars surrounds us and penetrates us and binds us together. Like, it really does, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's fair.
That is our review of A New Hope. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, because if you don't,
I'll get you.
She might. Yeah. She'll come after you. She's like that. And like, comment, subscribe, do all that nice things, and we will see you guys for our review of The Empire Strikes Back, coming out quite soon. May the Force be with you always.